Welcome to Infectious Disease Lesson 4.2, Toxins, Botox, Tetanus, Hamburger Disease, and MRSA. The goals of this lesson are to explore 4 clinical examples of how bacteria cause damage to a host with toxins, and to review how toxins perform a function that benefits bacterial replication. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to describe the symptoms of 3 diseases caused by bacteria with toxins, and describe how the bacteria in each disease use their toxins to make the host sick. We will achieve these goals by discussing the term toxin and how bacteria use toxins, and with a jigsaw activity that explores 4 bacterial infections that involve toxins. We will see that in some cases, the toxin is the sole contributor to host damage, symptoms, and disease. To prepare for this lesson, you'll need to review the following key scientific concepts. Toxins are poisonous substances, usually proteins or lipids produced by organisms that can cause disease. Toxins benefit bacterial replication, often by making it easier for bacteria to access nutrients. And sometimes we use bacterial toxins as medicine. You can review this scientific content in the background reading provided for you in the teacher primer, the teacher manual, and the student workbook. The teacher primer provides in-depth knowledge about the scientific content presented in this lesson. The teacher manual or lesson plan provides a minute-by-minute explanation of the lesson structure, and the student workbook provides additional explanation for students. Note that there is also an annotated version available for teachers. Be sure to print the Lesson 4.2 worksheet as well as the jigsaw activity reading, which can be found in the course materials folder for Lesson 4.2. The key points of the do now are that some familiar diseases are caused by bacteria that make toxins, and a toxin is a poisonous substance produced by living cells or organisms that is capable of causing disease. Toxins help bacteria gain access to nutrients in the host. The do now slide begins by having the students look for a pattern in 4 images. All of these images have toxins in common. The hamburger illustrates food poisoning that might result from eating uncooked meat that is contaminated with E. coli. Unlike the commensal E. coli in our intestines, the pathogenic E. coli secretes Shiga toxin. The man in the arched back is an example of tetanus. Clostridium tetani produces tetanus toxin that causes prolonged skeletal muscle spasms. The image of Kim Kardashian might reflect Botox treatment. Botox is a drug made from the botulinum toxin produced by Clostridium botulinum. This toxin blocks the muscle contraction, causing paralysis. The inflamed swollen rash might be caused by S. aureus. S. aureus produces a toxin that activates immune cells, thereby causing indirect damage to the host. Before beginning the jigsaw, we discuss toxins in more detail. First, we define toxins. Then we talk about how bacteria use toxins to manipulate the host or to manipulate other bacteria. For example, they might use toxins to migrate within a host to gain access to nutrients. They can do this by directly or indirectly damaging host cells to invade new tissues. Bacteria might also use toxins to kill off competing bacteria. It's all about getting to a new space with nutrients for replication. The key points of the activity are that toxins lead to symptoms by direct and indirect damage to the host, and damaging host barriers can enable bacteria to spread to new nutrient-rich locations. In this jigsaw activity, the students will learn about diseases that are caused by toxin-producing bacteria. Staph aureus can cause local and systemic infections. Unfortunately, antibiotic-resistant strains of Staph aureus are becoming more common, making the infections harder to treat. E. coli 0157H7 infection causes severe food poisoning. This strain of E. coli is like the commensal E. coli normally found in our intestines, but it has a toxin. The toxin causes damage to the host intestines. Clostridium botulinum infection causes muscle paralysis, leading to blurred vision, drooping eyelids, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, an inability to breathe. Clostridium tetani infection causes tetanus. This makes a toxin that causes muscle contraction, leading to facial spasms, locked jaw, and in severe cases, an inability to breathe. Neisseria meningitis infection causes swelling in the brain. N. meningitis makes a toxin that causes high fever, headache, stiff neck, and in advanced cases, brain damage, coma, and death. Have students break into groups of 4 to 6 to read the workbook jigsaw reading. They will use this reading to fill in the table in their worksheets. Later, they will use this table to teach their classmates about their topic. By the end of the activity, each student should have a completed table with information covering all 4 or 5 diseases. The 3 key aspects to focus on for each disease are the symptoms, how the bacteria and toxin damage host tissue, and any additional information that they find interesting. Note that to fit the jigsaw into a single class period, you may want to divide the work within or between groups. Be sure to familiarize yourself with each disease topic by reading the annotated student workbook and the worksheet answer key. Once the students have completed their sections of the worksheets, it's time for them to teach their classmates. This can be done through a whole class teach-back or in small groups by rotating students so an expert on each topic is at every table. The key point of the wrap-up is that there is a selective pressure to keep toxins that benefit bacterial replication. We'll get there by considering why some pathogenic bacteria have toxins. The main idea here is that bacteria are under immense pressure to acquire nutrients, so they have evolved or adapted tools like toxins that allow them to access nutrients. We will discuss the process of bacterial adaptation in the next lesson. The key point of the homework is to review how each pathogen uses its toxin. We'll get there by completing the worksheet. One of the most common questions students have is if you inhibit or neutralize a toxin, what happens to the disease? In many cases, neutralizing the toxin stops the disease completely. For example, vaccination against tetanus toxin leads to antibodies that block the toxin and prevent disease. In the next lesson, we will explore the process of bacterial adaptation in an adaptation auction. Don't forget, if you have any questions, concerns, or feedback, to let us know. You can contact any of the CTSE team members and we'll be happy to help you.